She stole my fiancé and dream venue. Her rehearsal dinner unveiled everything. My name is Emily Carter, a 32-year-old bank manager living in a quaint suburb of Seattle. My life was neatly planned: a rewarding career at Pacific Trust Bank, a cozy condo with a view of Puget Sound, and a wedding set for 3 months from now at Crestwood Manor, a stunning estate with ivy-covered walls and rose gardens that seemed plucked from a fairy tale. My fiancé, David, and I had been together since our senior year at the University of Washington. He was charming, ambitious, and I thought, devoted. But betrayal doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It slips in quietly, like a thief in the night. It was a rainy Thursday when my world unraveled. I'd left work early to meet our wedding planner, Laura, to finalize the seating chart. When Laura texted to cancel due to a last-minute vendor issue, I decided to head home, eager for a rare evening with David. As I pulled into our condo's parking garage, I noticed my sister Amy's red Mazda in David's usual spot. Odd. Amy, a graphic designer, was supposed to be at a client meeting downtown. She'd texted me that morning about it, asking if I could swing by her studio to see her latest project. I'd promised to try. The elevator to our 7th-floor apartment felt slower than usual. My mind churned with explanations. Maybe Amy's car broke down and David was helping her. Maybe she'd stopped by to drop off the bridesmaid gift ideas she'd been raving about. I turned the key in the lock, the soft click echoing in the quiet. The living room was dim, the blinds half drawn, but it wasn't empty. 2 wine glasses sat on the coffee table, one smudged with Amy's signature pink lipstick. Her leather jacket was slung over a chair. "Amy?" I called, setting my purse down. "David?" No answer, but a muffled giggle came from the bedroom. Amy's giggle, unmistakable after years of sharing secrets and late-night talks. Then David's voice, low and intimate. My heart thudded, but my feet moved on autopilot down the hallway. It was like watching someone else push open the bedroom door, someone braver, someone ready for the truth. David and Amy were in our bed, tangled in the gray linen sheets I'd chosen because they matched the room's calming aesthetic. Amy gasped, clutching the sheet to her chest. David froze, his face a mask of shock that quickly melted into guilt. "Emily!" Amy stammered, her voice trembling. "We were going to tell you." "Tell me what?" My voice was eerily calm, as if it belonged to someone else. "That you're sleeping with my fiancé? It's not—" David started, then stopped, unable to finish the cliché. Even he couldn't deny the evidence sprawled before me. "How long?" I demanded, my eyes flicking between them. They exchanged a glance, a silent confession. 5 months, David admitted, his voice barely audible. 5 months. While I had been sampling catering menus and designing invitations, they'd been building a secret life behind my back. I laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that startled even me. "Get dressed. Get out, both of you." "Emily, please!" Amy sobbed, her tears as perfectly timed as always. "It just happened. We didn't mean—" "Out!" I repeated, my voice steel. I held out my hand to David. "The ring!" He hesitated, then slid the emerald-cut diamond off his finger. It gleamed in the dim light, a cruel reminder of the future I'd thought was mine. They dressed in silence, Amy's sniffles punctuating the awkwardness, David avoiding my gaze. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, waiting. "We'll talk when you're ready," Amy said as they shuffled past, her voice pleading. "As a family." "Family?" I echoed, the word tasting bitter. "Is that what we are?" David reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't," I said. "Ever." The door closed behind them, and I sank to the floor, expecting tears, rage, anything. Instead, a cold clarity settled over me. I pulled out my phone and called Laura. "The wedding's off," I said when she answered. "Emily, what happened?" Her voice was laced with concern. "Ask my sister. She's sleeping with my fiancé." I hung up, then added, Don't refund the deposit on Crestwood Manor. Not yet. Some instinct told me to hold on to that peace, even as my world crumbled. The days that followed were a haze of pain and determination. David moved out while I was at work, leaving behind a note that read, "I'm sorry. I'll make this right." I tore it up. My mother called relentlessly, her voicemails a mix of sympathy and exasperation. "Emily, we need to talk as a family. Amy's heartbroken. She didn't mean for this to happen." Heartbroken? The irony was almost laughable. My father called on the 5th day, his tone grave. "We're having dinner tonight with Amy and David. We'd like you to come." "Why would I do that?" I asked, my voice sharp. "Because we're family, and families work through things." "Work through Amy stealing my fiancé?" I snapped. "How do we work through that?" He sighed. "There's more. Amy's pregnant." The words hit like a punch. Pregnant? While I'd been planning our wedding, Amy had been carrying David's child. "I'll be there," I said, hanging up before he could respond. Dinner was at my parents' craftsman-style home in West Seattle, a place filled with memories of childhood laughter and sibling secrets. Amy opened the door, her hand resting on her barely noticeable bump, David hovering behind her. "Emily, thank you for coming," she said, reaching for me. I stepped past her, ignoring the gesture. My mother fussed over the table settings, her nervous energy palpable. My father poured wine, his face lined with tension. The scene felt like a staged play, everyone playing their part except me. "We're getting married," Amy announced, her hand still on her stomach, "at Crestwood Manor next month." My fork clattered against the plate. "You're taking my venue? It's practical," David said, avoiding my eyes. "Everything's already booked, and with the baby coming, practical?" I laughed, the sound harsh. "You steal my fiancé, my wedding, and call it practical?" "Emily, please," my mother pleaded. "We're trying to move forward." "Move forward?" I stood, my chair scraping the floor. "You expect me to smile while Amy walks down the aisle I planned with the man I loved? That's not family. That's betrayal." I left, their voices calling after me. But as I drove away, a plan began to form. They thought this was the end, poor Emily retreating to lick her wounds. They were wrong. This was just the beginning. I turned to Mark, a colleague and friend who'd always been a steady presence. We met at Harbor Brew, a cozy cafe with exposed brick walls and the scent of roasted coffee. "I need your help," I said, sliding into the booth across from him. "I want to buy Crestwood Manor." Mark's eyebrows shot up. "The wedding venue? Emily, that's a massive investment." "I know," I said, my voice steady. "But Amy and David are using my deposit, my dream, for their wedding. I can't let that happen." He studied me, concern etched on his face. "This is about revenge, isn't it?" "It's about justice," I corrected. "They took everything. I'm taking something back." Mark sighed, but nodded. "I have a contact in real estate. Crestwood's been struggling financially. The owners might be open to a sale if the price is right." Over the next weeks, I threw myself into the plan. At work, I secured a major client, earning a promotion to senior manager and a bonus that bolstered my savings. I met with Mark's contact, a sharp real estate agent named Tessa, who confirmed Crestwood's owners were open to offers. "They're bleeding money," she said. "Weddings keep it afloat, but barely." My phone buzzed constantly with texts from Amy. "Can we talk? I'm so sorry." I ignored them. My parents alternated between guilt trips and pleas. "Amy needs her sister. The baby's coming." I silenced their calls, focusing on my goal. One evening, I found Amy's latest Instagram post. A photo of her and David in Crestwood's rose garden, her hand on her bump, captioned, "2 months until our forever begins at our dream venue. #blessed, #baby love." The comments were filled with heart emojis and congratulations. I clenched my jaw, my resolve hardening. Tessa called the next day. The owners accepted your offer. Crestwood's yours if you sign by next week. I signed the papers in my lawyer's office, my hand steady despite the weight of the decision. Crestwood Manor was mine. The first thing I did was instruct the manager to cancel Amy and David's booking, citing policy changes under new ownership. Amy's tearful voicemail came hours later. Emily, how could you? Crestwood was our dream. I'm on bed rest because of the stress. Please call me. Guilt flickered, but I pushed it down. This was what I wanted, for them to feel a fraction of my pain. The invitation to Amy and David's rehearsal dinner arrived a week later, a cream envelope with gold lettering. They'd scrambled to book Sunset Cove Resort, a less prestigious but still beautiful venue. A handwritten note from Amy read, "Please come, we need to talk." I stared at it, torn. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let my cancellation of Crestwood be the final blow. But another part, fueled by months of simmering anger, wanted to see their faces when they realized I wasn't broken. I RSVP'd, choosing a sleek black dress that hugged my frame, a testament to the workouts that had channeled my rage. Sunset Cove's dining terrace was adorned with fairy lights and lavender blooms, Amy's favorite. My parents greeted me tensely, their smiles forced. Amy, in a flowing white maternity dress, looked radiant but nervous. David, in a tailored suit, avoided my gaze. "Emily, thank you for coming," Amy said, touching my arm. "It means so much." "Does it?" I replied, my tone cool, slipping my arm away. Before she could respond, David's father called for toasts. I sat at the back, sipping water, watching as friends and family praised the couple. My mother spoke of new beginnings, her voice strained. Then David stood, his glass trembling. "I need to say something," he began, his eyes locking onto mine. 7 months ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. I betrayed Emily, someone who deserved better. The crowd hushed. Amy frowned, clearly unprepared. My heart raced. This wasn't part of my plan. "I told myself it was love," David continued. "That Amy and I were meant to be. But I was wrong. And there's something else." His voice broke. "The baby isn't mine." Gasps rippled through the room. Amy's face drained of color. "What are you talking about?" she whispered. "I had a DNA test done," David said. "The baby is Ethan's, your coworker." Amy swayed, clutching the table. My mother rushed to her side, glaring at me as if I'd orchestrated this. But I was as stunned as anyone. Ethan, the quiet designer Amy worked with? "That's not true!" Amy sobbed. "You're lying!" "I have the results," David said, his voice hollow. "It's over, Amy." He turned to me. "Emily, I'm sorry. For everything. There's more you need to know. I took out a loan, $150,000, under your name. I thought it would fund our new business, but it was wrong." The room spun. "A loan? Under my name?" The betrayal deepened, a knife twisting in my gut. I stood, my voice steady despite the chaos. "You forged my signature, David. That's fraud, and I have proof." Murmurs erupted. I pulled out my phone, showing emails I'd found weeks ago, communications between David and a bank colleague, detailing the forged loan application. "I've already reported this to the authorities," I said. "You'll hear from my lawyer." David paled, sinking into his chair. Amy's sobs echoed as guests dispersed. The perfect rehearsal dinner in ruins. I walked out, my heart pounding, not with triumph, but with a strange emptiness. The next morning, I met with my lawyer, Karen, a no-nonsense woman with a knack for financial disputes. "The loan is clearly fraudulent," she said, reviewing the emails. "We'll file charges and clear your name. David's assets will be frozen pending investigation." "What about Amy?" I asked. "She was part of this." Karen frowned. "There's no direct evidence she knew about the loan, but her involvement with David complicates things. We can pursue damages if you want." I nodded, still processing the rehearsal dinner's revelations. Amy's betrayal stung, but her own world had collapsed too. Was that enough? At work, I threw myself into my new role, securing another client and earning praise from my boss. But my thoughts kept drifting to Crestwood. Owning it felt hollow now, a monument to anger rather than justice. Mark noticed my distraction during our coffee break at Harbor Brew.
You did what you set out to do, he said. Crestwood's yours. Amy and David are facing consequences. What's next?
I don't know, I admitted. I thought revenge would feel better.
Maybe it's not about revenge anymore, he suggested. What do you want Crestwood to be?
The question lingered. That evening, I walked the grounds of Crestwood Manor, the rose gardens bathed in twilight. The estate was beautiful but empty, a reminder of dreams lost and vengeance gained. I realized I didn't want to destroy Amy and David's lives. I wanted to build something new from my own.
Over the next months, I transformed Crestwood Manor into the Crestwood Community Hub, a nonprofit hosting art classes, youth programs, and affordable weddings. The profits funded scholarships for local students, a cause close to my heart. The grand opening was a success, with community leaders and residents praising the initiative.
Amy gave birth to a girl, Lily, and reached out tentatively. "I'm sorry, Emily," she wrote. "I was jealous of your life, your stability. I made terrible choices. Can we talk?" We met at Harbor Brew, Lily asleep in her stroller. Amy's eyes were tired but honest. "Ethan and I are co-parenting," she said. "He's a good father. I'm trying to be a good mother." "Why did you do it?" I asked, the question raw. "I wanted what you had," she admitted. David was charming, but it wasn't love. It was envy. Her confession didn't erase the pain, but it softened it. "I'm keeping Crestwood," I said, "but I'd like you to curate the art gallery there. Your designs are brilliant." Amy's eyes widened. "You'd trust me?" "It's a start," I said. Our relationship grew slowly, built on small gestures, coffee dates, gallery meetings, moments with Lily. My parents, initially wary, began to support my vision for Crestwood, their apologies bridging old wounds. David faced legal consequences for the loan fraud, his assets seized to cover the debt. He moved to Portland, starting over with a smaller firm. I wished him no ill. He'd face his own reckoning. Mark became more than a friend, our coffee breaks turning into dinners, then dates. One evening, on Crestwood's terrace, he took my hand. "You've built something incredible here, Emily. And you've built something with me, too. Where do we go from here?" I smiled, the weight of the past lighter now. "Forward," I said. "Together." 3 years later, I stood in Crestwood's gardens, watching Lily, now a giggling toddler, chase butterflies. Amy was planning an art exhibit, her confidence restored. Mark and I were engaged, planning a simple wedding, not at Crestwood, but at a quiet beach, free of old ghosts. My sister stole my fiancé and dream venue. Her rehearsal dinner unveiled truths that shattered us all. But from those ruins, I built a life richer than revenge, a life of purpose, connection, and hope.